these are involuntary movement issues. The central nervous system is everything you can imagine. When your nervous system starts having problems, there is untold amount of symptoms that you can have, from the weird and the wacky to, you know, just simple tremors and things, convulsions, spasticity. There's innumerable things, hallucinations, weird thoughts, gold stars, silver moons. I've had all kinds of things in here from that. So, you know, this is the nervous system. The nervous system is man's key to everything here. That without that nervous system, nothing moves. You know, that's the electrical department. That is a fruit and berry department for the Homo sapien. We run our electrical systems, and we need that. We need those fruits and those berries to run that nervous system. And those of you are finding, I was just talking to a sweet young girl. She's a quad C6, C7, C5, C7, but again, she's starting to feel things, and you know, just got to keep going. You keep going, because I tell you what, there's nothing else to do on the planet but sit in a chair and get decubiti and cellulitis and all the other crap, UTIs out the butt, if you don't do it. And if you do it, your chances of getting up are probably 80% or better. And so, especially injuries, spinal cord injuries that are fairly recent, really can see. We've developed new pathways with 12 years down, and I've seen even the 35-year down quad. We'll show you his story. He didn't realize he was getting more and more activity and movement. People would go, man, you're moving more than, and he didn't see that, but everyone else saw that. But his regeneration of bone was well documented. Incredible regeneration of bone, and severe scoliosis and old fractures realigning themselves on their own. So the power of the human body, I've been in awe many times of where some people have been able to take themselves, and just super impressed. It's just it makes you a God lover, whatever name you choose to use it, because you know that there's intelligence involved, there's a power involved. You know the body's an incredible conscious machine, so to speak. So just incredible stuff here. But again, motor skills, it doesn't matter what central nervous system autonomic. It's just that when you're working, you always have to work on your adrenals, Kelly, and you're all up here in the cerebellum and everything else. We know it's the lymph system, no question. But after years of having that, you can get some deterioration or brain lesions, and they're very healable. So what you've got to do is move that lymph and get that lymph moving out of there, sweetheart, and then you'll have the opportunity to rebuild. That's why the upper circuit, brain, and nerve is instrumental to you, as well as the adrenals. But again, the kidneys, filtering the lymph, without that, success is minimal. So this is the problem. You can't get frustrated, because everybody has their own issues at moving lymph. If people only knew about the lymph, no one would be drinking milk ever, except as a baby. And they would try to stick to mama's milk. I cannot afford to be in the hospital anymore. As for, okay, a lot of people are talking about this clarity, and so interesting. Some positive, some negative, you know. I don't know. You know, there's so much information and misinformation. I'm pretty corralled in my plant matter. Someone was saying mochius earth, or however you pronounce that. It was you know, an algae that hardened. Yeah, you know what? I've just never been into palm scum. I've never been into palm scum as a nutritional thing. It powers up people, but then it lets people down. So single-celled organisms, I don't know. You can do what you want. I'm really, in a detoxification scenario, don't recommend it. If you wanted to take it on a daily basis outside of that, well, whatever you want, I don't care. But as a detoxification, the less protein, the better. Let me see. I know you have to go to traditional docs, Kelly. I know that. I know why, and I respect that. You've got to. You know, you're not well. So you fix that until you're well, and then you don't need them. And then thank you for the assistance. This question was interesting. This is from Nature Lover, and his question was, how do you find your sinner? Good question. You know, the alone state. The alone state is where you will find all your answers. And the alone state is a place that you have to get to. And I suggest that you find places where you can spend entirely alone, where it's just you. And you sit and you get used to you. And you start appreciating yourself, not physically, not mentally, not emotionally. You just appreciate yourself in the context of being aware. And you find this alone state, because within the alone state, you find God. And when you find the alone state, you'll find yourself and God. And that alone state only exists in the now. The alone state does not exist in thought. The alone state does not exist in emotions. The alone state is actually life itself. All life is alone within itself, because only that alone exists. There is not two or three gods. The Supreme Being alone exists. It is omnipresent. It is all-inclusive. There's nothing outside of it. And it can't be in the way that most people see God and know life here. So you can always say there's different gods if you want. Different spiritual beings helping with different realms. People call a lot of things out there. But the ultimate is in the alone state, and one would not know it until he taps that state. Because I know we talked about this before, believing in other people's experiences only goes so far. And that's the way I am. You get your tidbits. How do you do it? How do you have out-of-body experiences? Or how do you... It's even more than out-of-body experiences, because it's still about the traveler, not the traveling. So it's all about you. And the only way you're going to find your center where you can stay and always be is in the moment. So you have to learn how to practice being in the now, and not thinking, and not wanting, and not desiring, and not thinking. And at the same time, that'll breed that alone state. That'll breed the awareness of the all. Because thought reduces consciousness down to vision, to focus. And consciousness is the key. It's real simple when you look at it. We'll get into more spiritual tapes, you know. But I've got so many of these questions to answer. I'll get to that. But it was a very good question. And once you find your center, but you always are the center. The confusion lies in thought and feelings and desires and emotions, because these are things outside of yourself that you want to create, that you want to get involved in, that you put your attention on. And of course society festers that with, do you want to be a fireman, do you want to be a lawyer, do you want to be a medical doctor, you know, those sort of things. And so it always puts you, not your body, it always puts you here. And so the idea of the social consciousness obviously is to keep you here. I mean, that's how creation operates. If you really could experience the allness, there's no way you would want to be here. I can just tell you, if you look at people that talk about out-of-body experiences, not too many of them want to come back here. And it's because it's just, when you're here, you get lost. Okay, it's great. But you've got to get lost to appreciate it, because when you're not lost, kind of a hellhole. But good question. No hellhole in creation, of course. I've been to a few pretty scary stuff out there in creation, not who you are, though. Yeah, you guys like my health club, Rosalind? I do too. I like that. It's protected because it's a private club, and it's more focused, and it'll help you guys too, because you have to be careful with the buzzards out there. The buzzards are like the allopathic and the state people who think these state medical boards who think their chest is out there. This narcissistic concept, or the narcissistic consciousness that the allopathic took on is revolting. Makes me want to vomit, because it actually does these people no favors. You know, the reality is people are sick, people need to get well, and one must understand the reality of foods, the reality of chemistry, and the reality of physics. You don't have to go chasing rainbows. It's very simple. And so we have to get to that. You know, we have to let that narcissistic, egotistical type of consciousness go. This is about individuals and their pain and suffering and how do we get them well, and not about, you know, I'm the best and there's no other way people get well out there. That's what's blocked a lot of people. And then, of course, because of the wealth, the advertising, and just this consciousness that these state prosecutors and people have, you know, about the natural health field, I just find just unbelievable how we've allowed that to happen. 303, nice stuff, man. I'd like your comment here to 123 nice or 132 nice. It's a Zen thing. Not 123, it's 132. That's a Zen thing. That's pretty cool. They go, what? It stops you right there. It makes you make it. I've had 2 visits with my, good stuff, man. I love that stuff. You know, the whole idea is to develop our intuitiveness. Well, here's C. Stall again. You look good in blue. Thank you, C. I won't mention your first name. But thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate it. And listen, keep on rocking. You're rocking good, honey. And keep going. You know, keep yourself in balance. A lot of people want to sell a lot of things, sweetheart. Why do you say the young ones have more weaknesses in the likes and the kidneys? Now, someone answered this for me. Why do you say the young ones have more weaknesses in the likes of kidneys and adrenals? Well, basically, if you take a look at this, the tissues that have gotten beat up the most in man's omnivorous, high-protein lifestyles has been the GI tract and the kidneys. Those are the 2 organs that has essentially been literally broken down to the point that what we've been talking about, to the point where the children are not, some children are born without 1 kidney, deformed kidneys, the lymph problems that we're seeing in the children, the amount of cancers. Look at St. Jude and all the children's hospitals in St. Pete, and look at all these kids. They don't know how to deal with them. It's unfortunate, because it's a killing machine sometimes. I mean, they just don't know that they're out of their element. They don't know how to deal with genetics. They need to learn this. They need to learn what we're doing here, because that is tissue regeneration and genetic remembering of cells. They need to know that, because outside of that, there's no help. They're killing them. And you can't, if you're a nurse there, I remember there was a nurse that worked at St. Jude's, or one of them. Let me tell you, you don't see the parents here, honey, and the parents that call me, and the kids that are dying all over the place. You should see that if you're there. They're out of their element. If you're a nurse there and you're watching this YouTube, you need to educate those people at this level so they can start saving these kids, because there's going to be kids we just can't save. We talked about that yesterday on a video, and it's just, we're trying. You know, but by the time they go through the AMA, they're even compromised even more. That's even more serious. And yet, at the same time, in all fairness, we need the AMA. We need the American Medical Association, but we need them to work for us. We don't work for them. They need to work for us, because you're the ones with the knowledge out there of how you regenerate even the kids. And you can refine that and get better. Kids adapt to herbs very well. We have tons of children worldwide on herbs for years and years and years, and these kids are just doing better. They're excelling in school. They're getting rid of their autisms, their their ADHD. They're getting rid of all these problems, because these are weaknesses. These are weaknesses in the adrenals and the kidneys. Look at the autism. Look at the neurological problems. Look at the seizures out there. Just look at all these issues that the children are going through.